Greetings. I hope you are doing well. It has now been 4 weeks since I have been here in the Holy Land. It's it's just remarkable. I kind of almost feel like I've been here forever. I'm a veteran here almost at the hostel I'm staying at. Sorry, the background is the hostel again. It's because it's kind of like the only quiet private area I have here. So that's why I keep filming these videos here. But a girl just arrived last night. She's from the States, but she's working now in Athens in Greece. We were just introducing ourselves and she's like, "Oh, you're a veteran here." Yeah, because I've been at this hostel for a long time. I have an ongoing list of all the guests that have been coming to stay here in the hostel and where they're from. And it's just amazing, from all over different parts of the world. And I've become really good friends with a lot of the people here, like exchanged contact information, maybe going to visit some of them. It's been a real amazing experience that way, and it was something I kind of wasn't expecting. I forget if I said this earlier on, but I wasn't really expecting to have so much social interaction on this pilgrimage. I knew I was going to be staying in hostels, but I kind of didn't really connect that would mean I'd be like making all these new friends, which that's truly been the case. I've been to a lot of places with these people. Yeah, like I said, I may be going to visit them in the future. We've just been like really supporting each other. It's been really beautiful, actually, really amazing, and a blessing that I didn't expect. I don't really associate too much with the other people at the hostel here. It's like a big hostel, and if I wanted to, I could, and I'm sure I'd meet a lot more amazing people. And also too, if I went out and socialized, like maybe went out to restaurants or to get to cafes around here, I'm sure I would meet a lot more people. But right now, that's not what I'm interested in doing, and I'm happy with the people I've been meeting so far. So anyway, this is a video to talk about what happened during my 4th week here on my pilgrimage in the Holy Land. So starting off the 4th week, I did a tour. And I think I mentioned this before, that I really don't like to do tours unless I absolutely have to, like organized tours, because I don't like spending the money for them if I don't have to, even though they're really good. A girl just left the dorm here who, she almost went on like every tour, and hearing her talk about it, it is amazing. But I like myself, if I can go on my own, I will go. But there was a couple places I wanted to go that it was really hard for me when I was researching how to get there. So I decided to go on an organized tour. And it ended up being so worth it. Like, it was really, you got your money's worth of the tour. If you're interested to know which tour, just send me a message and I can let you know which tour company I went with. But oh, I highly recommend it. It was amazing. We had an amazing tour guide. It gave you a really realistic, kind of non-biased picture of what was going on in the area here, and I got to go to some amazing sites. So one of them being Jericho. Jericho. I really wanted to go see Jericho. I think they say it's the oldest city in the world where people are still like living there. And it was really special being there, just seeing like the landscape. It was like a desert. A lot of it was very dry. There were some trees. We got to see an archaeological site that they're digging up, and they had like different layers there from thousands of years. You could see how old the area was. And then we got to kind of overlook. We were standing up on a hill, and you could see kind of where the Jordan River would be, and you could see the country of Jordan on the other side. And they say that somewhere there, the Israelites, when they were in the Bible coming out of Egypt, they would have crossed over the Jordan there into the promised land. So I can still see it in my mind from standing up on that hill. And it was just amazing to think that was that spot. And then somewhere would have been in that area, the Jericho city that the Bible goes, the story that they marched around the city and blew their trumpets and then yelled and the city fell down. So I who knows, I could have been standing in the exact spot where that happened. And then when you're standing in that spot, it's still on the mountain, you turn to the other side and there's this huge mountain in the distance, and it's called the Mount of Temptation. And that's the mountain they believe could have been where Jesus was tempted by the devil. So remember when he went in the desert for 40 days and the devil gave him, I think there was 3 temptations mentioned, maybe changing rock into bread, worshiping the devil, and throwing himself off the temple. Yeah, so the mountaintop was, I think, the one where it was like, the devil said, I will give you all these kingdoms of the world if you fall down and worship me. And Jesus like, you are to worship God alone. So you can see that mountain. So just from standing in that location in Jericho, it was really neat. And they kind of make use of those events. They have like a restaurant, like a hotel, I think it's called like Mount Temptation Restaurant or something like that. And like something connected to the hotel there. So really neat to just see that area and see the desert, the kind of the desertous feel. Like a girl that was with me on the tour, again, from my dorm, we went together. So it was nice to have somebody with me on the tour. She was like, no wonder people were looking for the promised land if this is what the land looked like. So dry and just arid. I don't even know what that word means, but I think it connects with dry and arid. But yeah, it was really neat to be there. And then we got to go to the Jordan River where John the Baptist baptized Jesus. I think there's a couple spots that are believed could have been that location in the Jordan River. We went to the one that was more like near Jericho. I think there's another one up closer to the Sea of Galilee. Yeah, again, a really special experience. The water was brown, but just being there and seeing all the people there, and there were people being baptized and people singing songs, it was really neat experience to be there. And then if you saw some videos I posted, I put my hand in the water and took a picture of my hand in the water. And then when I got home, no, I think it was later on in that tour after we left that spot, I looked at the picture and there was these sparkles like surrounding my hand, which someone pointed out, like it kind of in the shape of a triangle. And you know, you could say it was the sun reflecting, but it did not look like the sun. If you take a look at that picture that I posted, it looks like they're gems. And I believe it was kind of like just like a little miracle, like God showing the beauty of this water. And what happened there was miraculous. Like Jesus was there, God was there, he was baptized there. So yeah, just a little blessing, a big blessing, you know, a big blessing from God to show his power and his beauty. Yeah, and I still haven't really fully comprehended it, but yeah, I was thankful for that. Then we went to Bethlehem after, and we saw the Church of the Nativity, the spot where they believe Jesus was born. I didn't take any pictures there because I'm going on my pilgrimage to Bethlehem on my own. So I'll be able to be there and have time there. And so yeah, but that was really neat. And just an overall, and then we had dinner, a really nice dinner. Where was the dinner? I think it was in Bethlehem. Yeah, it was in Bethlehem by a local family. And just talking to the local people there, just getting a sense of what life is like for them and just tasting the food. It was like a really beautiful experience. So I highly recommend that tour. I loved it. And I get motion sickness when I travel, and so I have to take precautions, and I prayed, and sometimes I take medicine, anti-nausea pills, and I had a good time. I didn't deal with motion sickness, which I was so thankful about, because that's not always the case. So yeah, that was that tour. Checked off some sites that I really wanted to go to, and was so happy to be able to do that tour. The next couple days, like after that tour, I was really tired. I think it was after that tour. And I had to kind of rest for a few days. And then I got thinking, I was like, why am I so tired and worn out? And I was like, well, I've been going strong for like 3 weeks. And so no wonder I'm feeling like kind of run down and tired. Yeah, because I've been visiting, pretty much looking up every spot I can see that connects to the Bible somehow. There's so many, like I'm not going to get to them all, but I wanted to go to most of them. So yeah, I just had to kind of rest in the hostel. So I just kind of rested, took it easy, did some light things, which makes sense. Yeah, and I since then I've been pacing myself better. Not that I was overrunning myself, but there were a couple days where I pushed myself a little too hard. So just even today, I'm taking a more of a relaxed day because of yesterday what happened, which I'll get to later on. So yeah, it's kind of hard to find that balance. I think most people come when they come for like maybe a week or something. And then I've been here for 3 weeks doing these touristy things. So it makes sense that I was a little tired. So I feel my energy coming back to me, which is great. So someone, I think when I was researching coming here, one of the things I researched was called Hezekiah's Tunnel. And as I was looking for the things I wanted to do later on, I kind of took that off my list. I was like, I'm not really interested in Hezekiah's Tunnel. I didn't even really know what it was, but I kind of put it off. And then I forget what happened to put it back on my radar again. It could have been somebody here that mentioned it. I think it might have been one of the girls in the dorm mentioned it. So I looked it up and I was just fascinated by it. And I said, I really want to go. But I didn't want to go by myself. I wanted to try to find somebody to go with me. So what it is it's in the Bible actually, and it was built, I think, 700 BC. So it's almost 3,000 years old. And it was when the city of Jerusalem was being invaded, and the spring of water, for their source of water in Jerusalem, was outside the city. So the people had to built this tunnel to get the water into the city and protect the water from the invaders and bring it into the city. And how they built it was they took, I guess, like axes, and they started on both sides of the tunnel, and they picked their way through solid rock. I think it took like 2 years, and they met in the middle. So in the tunnel, you can see where the axes were picking, and you can see them coming from both sides and meeting. And it was discovered by, I think, a British, maybe archaeologist, maybe in the 19th century. And he kind of went through it to see if it still could be gone through. And it was there, and they found, I think, a plaque that proved that it was the tunnel from this time. So I think it's historically proven that this is the tunnel. So yeah, I forgot to mention, it's 1,500 feet long. So it takes about 20 to 40 minutes, depending kind of on who you're following in the tunnel. And it's at times like 5 feet by 2 feet. So it's very narrow, and it's pitch black, and there's water kind of up to your shin and sometimes up to your knees or above. And there is another tunnel. It's called a Canaanite tunnel. I don't really know much about it, that you can take. That's like 5 minutes, lighted. It's easier, but this is the other one. So it took us about half an hour to go through. It was exhilarating. It was just amazing, the history. When we went down, you're under the city of David, which is what the original Jerusalem would have been. And there was a spot there that they believe King Solomon would have been anointed king down under there. And yeah, it was exhilarating. I went with the girl from my dorm, which I was so happy. She agreed to go with me, and she was happy that I was with her as well. And for the first maybe 10 minutes, it was just her and I, and it was pitch black. So you have your flashlights, which helps. And it was a real neat experience. It was kind of a bit scary. I'm not a claustrophobic person, but for about 30 seconds, I started to panic, and I was like, what if I faint in here? Like, how do I get out? And I just had to kind of distract my mind and say a prayer from what I was thinking, and then I could keep going. And we ended up catching up to a group that was ahead of us. They were singing too for part of it, which was nice. So I liked having the comfort of having more people around. It probably took us, I'd say it felt like 20 minutes, but I think the girl I was with says it was like half an hour. I don't really know, but it was an amazing experience. And I highly recommend it if you ever come here to do that. Plus, just to be in that historical spot. Someone told me they thought that maybe that's where David and his men hid, like in a tunnel in the Bible. I don't know. I'd have to research that. But yeah, it was amazing. And then the last thing I will talk about is what I did yesterday. And I went to a little town outside of Jerusalem. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's En Karim. It's spelled two words, EINKEREM. And some places I think put KAREM. And what it is, it's believed to be where Saint Elizabeth and Saint Zachariah, who were the parents of John the Baptist, lived. So their backstory, I think you can find it in the Bible. They were older and they were praying to God to have a child, and an angel revealed to Zachariah, the husband, when he was in the temple, I think he was a priest, that they were going to have a child. And I think he didn't believe. And he went mute, like he couldn't talk until, like, I think St. John the Baptist was born, or he said his name. But when Mary, the mother of Jesus, when the angel Gabriel appeared and told her she would be the mother of the Savior, the angel also said that your cousin Elizabeth is expecting a child. So that's how Mary found out, and she left and went, I think from Nazareth to En Karim to visit Elizabeth to help her during that time. And to stay with her. So this En Karim is where John the Baptist was born, and where Mary went and stayed for, I think it was 3 months with Elizabeth. So they have like 3 special spots there. They have the church where John the Baptist was born. They think maybe it would have been the winter house, I think, of Elizabeth and Zachariah. And then another church, maybe like a 7-8 minute walk up a hill, called the Church of the Visitation, where Mary possibly met Elizabeth and maybe stayed there with her. And then in the middle, they have this spring called the Virgin Spring, or Mary Spring, where they think Mary might have drank the water from, or used that water when she was there in En Karim. So yeah, it was a very beautiful and special spot. Really, I walked there, again, not wanting to spend money on the bus. I could have took the bus, but I walked there, and the scenery was gorgeous, just gorgeous. Walking like outside of the hustle and bustle of the main city of Jerusalem, and walked into this beautiful countryside, like rolling hills, trees, the sun, flowers, just picturesque. It would have been a beautiful spot to live. And even just the feel as you're walking in the town, you could just sense it changed from being that city feel to that like country feel, you know, and people just going about their daily lives, even though like I'm coming to this spot where it's just this really holy location. People are just, you know, walking, doing their shopping, working in the garden. So, but when I got there, it was packed with tourists. It was just like lots of tourists, and I didn't have to use my GPS to find my way around because you just follow the crowds. So yeah, it was really beautiful, and I received a special grace of a closer connection with St. John the Baptist. I've always kind of haven't been able, I haven't felt like I've been able to connect with him. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the way sometimes I find him portrayed. I just feel I can't connect with him, but I connected with him in that Church of the Nativity. I really had a special connection with him, and know that he's going to be a part of my journey from here on, praying for me and interceding for me from heaven. So, and I didn't expect that to happen. It was an unexpected grace that I received, that I'm very thankful for. So just beautiful. I couldn't help but sing when I was at the Church of the Visitation. It was just, again, something really beautiful and special being there, and so many people coming to see this beautiful sight. So that kind of sums up my 4th week here on my pilgrimage in the Holy Land. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you're getting some graces and insights by hearing about my journey, and I'm happy to share it with you. So God bless, take care, and we'll see you soon.